witnessing the American dream in my own backyard. Okay? Now, witnessing. So, 직접 봤다는 의미죠. Witnessed. Okay? 우리 이렇게 많이 써요. 내가 직접 봤다. I witnessed that event. Okay? 한국어 목격하다 많이 안 쓰지만 가끔 쓰기는 해요. 근데 우리 witnessed는 더 많이 쓰는 것 같아요. Okay? 제가 직접 봤다는 의미로, right? Witnessing the American dream in my own backyard. So, American dream이라고 하면은 아마 여러분 많이 들어보셨겠지만 정확히 무슨 뜻이죠? American dream이라고 하면 그런 말 있잖아요. 그 기회의 땅이라고 하잖아요, 미국은. So the land of opportunity. 그거 원래 영어 표현이었는데 the land of opportunity. And what that means is, in America, I think more than any other country, if you work hard, you can be rich. I really believe that, and I've witnessed that many times in my life. When my father was born, he was very poor, and he became very, very rich in one lifetime. And he helped other people become rich too, many Korean immigrants. Because my father works in real estate, and many Koreans came to America with just a few pennies, right? 푼, 뭐 한 푼, we say pennies, right? Pennies, okay, or cents. In America, we have dollars and cents, right? So 1센트짜리 센트 아니면 penny이라고 해요. So a lot of Korean immigrants came to America with just pennies, but they worked hard, saved money, and then my father, helped them. A lot of them worked together and became super wealthy, very rich. So I know that in America it's true, because I've seen it with my own eyes many times. I've seen poor people work hard and become very rich in America. Here it's a little harder, because everyone works hard. everyone here works hard. So if you want to be special, you'd have to work 24 hours a day, right, and never sleep. But in America, people are oftentimes, their dream is living a comfortable life. Not everyone's dream is to be super wealthy. A lot of people are just content being average. So a lot of people don't push themselves quite as hard as Koreans do. I feel like a lot of Koreans are really driven to be rich or to be successful. Okay, so they really push themselves very hard. And that's called a diligent work ethic. So people work ethic이라고 하는데 근무를 이렇게 근무에 대한 자세. Okay, this is like approach or stance. Yeah, but 윤리 이거는 ethics 그 의미 떠나서. Okay, 원래 ethics이라고 하면은 그런 의미지만 여기는 그런 건 아니에요. 여기는 그냥 열심히 일하냐 아니면은 게으르게 일하냐. So we'd say he has a bad work ethic. Okay, or he has a strong work ethic. So 여기 그 쓰임새 그런 거 도덕이랑 그 상관없어요. 이거 그냥 자세라고 생각하면 돼요.
그럼 S 붙으면 직업
달라지는 거죠. 네, 맞아요. 그래서 S 붙이면 의미 달라지는 경우 많잖아요. 영어. 우리 방금 얘기했던 것도 그랬잖아요. Okay, yeah, weight and weights. Yeah, so work ethic. A lot of Korean people have a really strong, very driven, very motivated work ethic, right? So I've seen the American dream take place before my own eyes many times. Many Koreans came to America with just a few cents and worked hard, saved money, then bought the business where they worked, then bought the building, and then bought the buildings around that building. Okay, and I've seen this happen many times. So that's called the American dream. And especially, even though those people were Koreans, we call that the American dream because that's the dream, being an immigrant and starting with nothing and becoming successful, right? Okay. So this is an example of seeing the American dream take place. To see something take place, okay, 이거 동사구인데 그냥 발생하다, 벌어지다 이런 의미죠. 일어나다. So for example, that event took place, right? 과거다. The concert took place. 그냥 하다 이런 거 비슷하죠. All right.
웨딩도
Yeah, the wedding took place. Yeah, the wedding took place. All right, so let's look at the first paragraph. Alright, so about it's I first wrote 15, but then I changed it to 18. 다시 계산해 보니까 15년 전에 제가 중학생이었으니까 아마 18년 전이었나 봐요. Okay, so about 18 years ago, my mother was pursuing a second master's degree. She had one master's degree in Spanish, but she wanted to get another master's degree in 신학. So what's the word for 신학? Theology, right? Yeah. Theology. Okay, and this, what do you think this means? It comes from Deus, which means God. Okay? And we have this word deity. Deity is the Latin word for God. Okay? So this means, yeah, 신학, right? Alright, so my mother returned to school to get a second master's degree. And master's degree 쓸 때 항상 그 apostrophe 들어가야 돼요. 소유격. Okay, master의 degree.
궁금한 게 있는데요.
네.
어퍼스트로피 어떻게 써요? 어퍼스트로피
네.
아니.
그냥 이렇게 찍으면 돼요.
아니.
apostrophe.
네. 근데 왜 그거 어디에서 오는 말이에요? 영어 맞아요?
apostrophe 맞겠죠? 네. 이런 어려운 맞춤법 물어보시면 안 되죠. 맞는 것 같지만 확실하지 못했습니다. 네, 맞는 것 같아요. apostrophe. 네, 근데 영어 단어 중에서 독특한 거 많아요. 특히 문법에 대해서 얘기할 때 의성어도 onomatopoeia이잖아. 그렇게 길어요. onomatopoeia. 그 의성어라는 뜻. 엄청 길어요. 나중에 보여드릴게요. Alright, so divinity school. Okay, 신학교. So 이거는 대학원이죠. 신학을 가르치는 대학원. So divinity school, and she was enrolled there. So I'm enrolled there. 재학 중. 거기 재학 중. Okay. Alright, so enrolled. I'm enrolled at 연세 University. 이런 식으로 쓰시면 돼요. Alright, let's look at the next paragraph. The campus. Campus 영어로 진짜 많이 쓰는 말인데 한국어의 그 교정 그렇게 많이 안 쓰는 것 같아요. 우리 그냥 한국 사람들이 그냥 연대에 와 있어요 이라고 하는데 we say I'm on campus. 저 지금 학교에 와 있다. I'm on campus. Okay? Or do you live on campus or off campus? 만약 그 기숙사에 산다면 보통 on campus. I live on campus. 아파트 알아서 이렇게 자취하고 있으면 I live off campus in an apartment. Okay? Alright, so we were short on cash for those few years, but luckily there were many tasty low-cost restaurants in the area that catered to the students. So this is an important expression. Cater to. To cater to. Someone. And then here you would say, for example, to cater to students. So for example, 지금 그 연대 앞에서 하는 그 장사하는 사람들이 주로 연대 학생 cater to 하고 있겠죠. Okay, so they cater to 연세 University students. 누군가를 대상으로 하는 right? 장사. 그 사람 향해서 한다는 의미죠. So that restaurant caters to anybody, vegetarians, you could say. That restaurant caters to vegetarians, like that. All right. So the point of this, the point of this story was that when my mom was in school, in seminary, which is the word for where they teach you theology, there was a new restaurant in our neighborhood, and it was a Mexican restaurant, and she took us down there and showed it to us, and she recommended I try this barbacoa, which is kind of like a burrito. It's an extra large burrito, so that's why I said oversized, right? And I really liked it. And a flagship item. So for example, 대표적인 대표 상품. So for example, 애플사의 대표 제품. You would say the iPhone, right? The iPhone is Apple's flagship device. 그런 식으로 쓰시면 돼요. Okay, flagship device. Alright.
플래그십 스토어도 있어요, 진짜.
네, flagship store. 수죠. So for example, Apple's flagship store in Manhattan. Okay. All right, and then so bucks. So we say I have a couple bucks. I only have a couple bucks on me. Okay. 몇 달러밖에 없어요. I only have a couple of bucks. Couple bucks. All right. And then when we would go into the restaurant, I told you before my mom used to teach Spanish and had been a professor of Spanish, and a lot of the employees there were from different parts of Mexico or South America. So I always tried to get my mom to order in Spanish because I always liked to hear foreign languages. So when we would order, I would always try to, like I said here, prod my mother, get her to speak in Spanish and order in Spanish. And usually she wouldn't because she didn't like to do that. She didn't like to show off her Spanish very much. She was always nervous. But the owner, the founder of the restaurant, wasn't from Mexico. But a lot of the staff were from Mexico. So we got on a first name basis with this guy, okay? We came to be on a first name basis with the owner. So for example, in English too, normally we use this 존칭. 존칭 is honorific. Honorific, 존칭. Okay, so we use Mr., right? Or, yeah, Mr. would be an honorific. But if you're on a first name basis, that means you call each other by your first name. So say, hey, what's up, John? Hi, Charlie, whatever, okay? That's a first name basis. It means that you're close. Now, honorific, yeah, honorifics are like Mr. or Professor, etc. Okay? Now, I recently read an article about the New York Times. When they described the death of bin Laden, they did not use an honorific. They just said Osama bin Laden, and then later they said bin Laden. They didn't say Mr. bin Laden. Okay? Also, when they talk about Lee Myung-bak, they say President Lee Myung-bak, and then later they say President, they say Mr. Lee, like that. Okay? 두 번째 언급했을 때 Mr. Lee이라고 해요. 근데 독재자, okay?에 대해서 얘기할 때, for example, Kim Jong-il, and Saddam Hussein, and whoever, people who didn't win their power through a democratic election, they don't say President Kim Jong-il. They just say Kim Jong-il, right? If you've ever read the papers, they don't attach an honorific. So for Osama bin Laden, they didn't say Mr. bin Laden. They just said Osama bin Laden. He's dead, and then later they said bin Laden, blah blah blah. Okay, it's called an honorific. All right, so then look at the next paragraph. That's supposed to say, we soon heard his account of how he had, after recently graduating business school, announced to his father that he wanted to open up a taco restaurant. Account. So account 단어 그 의미 진짜 많죠?
네.
account는 계정일 수 있고 계좌일 수 있어요. 네, 진술일 수 있어요. 법원에서 법원에 나서서 진술했습니다. I gave my account of the event. Okay? Account. And in this case, it can be a story, the story of your life, right? The story of your experiences. That's also called an account. Okay? 경험담. 그 경험에 대해서 얘기하는 거, right? All right. So we heard his account of his story. Then vociferous. 거기 vociferous 보시면 그 좀 비슷한 단어 생각나는 거 있어요? Does this remind you of anything? When you look at this word? Voice, right? Voice. 같은 어원이에요. Okay, also vocal. So vocal하고 vociferous 가끔씩 우리 같은 의미로 쓸 때 많아요. So for example, they were vocal in their protests. Okay, 언성을 높여서 okay, 큰 목소리로 외쳤다. They were vocal. They were vocal in their protests. You can also say vociferous protests or protestations. Okay, they're both similar. Alright, and then 한국어처럼 똑같이 밀고 나가는 거 push ahead with, right? Push ahead with my plan. Okay? Pushed ahead with his idea, with his dream. And 또 비슷한 표현이 있는데 forged ahead. forged ahead 하고 pushed ahead 비슷해요. 예, 비슷한 의미인데 여기 매진하다, 힘들게 앞으로 나가는 거. He forged ahead. 이거는 과거형. 현재형은 forge ahead이겠죠. forge ahead. Alright, so his store was always packed with customers, okay? 북적거리는, 이렇게 붐비는, packed with customers. And his owner, and soon the owner had set his sights on expansion. So 무슨 목표에 대해서 얘기할 때 I set my sights on 뭐뭐, okay? For example, you could say Obama set his sights on the presidency. Okay? 대통령 되려고 목표 이렇게 정했어요. Obama set his sights on the presidency. 그런 식으로 쓰시면 돼요. Alright, and then presidency. 대통령 그 명사형 그 자리에 올라가는 거. The presidency. Okay. 대통령 되는 거. 당선. Alright, so before long. 멀지 않아, right? Before long, 곧 바로. Before long, 오래 걸리지 않게. So before long, it'll be summer. 멀지 않아, 여름이 올 것이다, right? Before long, it'll be really hot and humid. It'll be summer. We should enjoy this weather because before long, it'll be too hot, right? All right, main branch, 본점, 본원. Okay, the main branch of YBM. 학원 is located in or is in 종로, the main branch. Alright, boasts. 여기 boast 이 쓰임새 한국어 이제 비슷하게 쓰기 시작했어요. 뭐뭐를 자랑한다. So boast 1,000 locations. 이런 말 이제 한국어도 많이 써요. 100년 넘는 역사를 자랑하는 그 대학교. So 그 쓰임새 원래 영어에서 왔을걸요. So it means you would say that, for example, that college boasts a 100-year-old history. 이런 식으로, okay? 똑같이 쓰시면 돼요. All right, and then so now this restaurant that started in our neighborhood has over 1,000 locations. Okay, 지점, 점수 몇 개 있는지에 대해서 얘기할 때 locations 이렇게 명사로 쓸 수 있어요. So for example, Starbucks has I don't know how many, 30,000 locations. I have no idea, but you know McDonald's has thousands of locations. We say locations like that. Okay, in 38 states, the staff has expanded from the original team of 4 that we saw to more than 26,000 today. So 오늘날 그 직원 수 이제 26,000명 넘었어요. Okay, it was 4 people when I first went there, and the guy there was the manager, the owner. And at the end of the day, like I said here, he would be counting the receipts. So what are receipts? 영수증, right? And managers count that in the end of the day, right? They sit in the back of the store and count that with the calculator and whatever. Okay, so that's called going through the receipts, going through. So third fastest growing company in the United States. Okay, so 성장 그렇게 빨랐다는 의미죠. Third fastest growing. And then let's look at forays. So to make forays into. So for example, they have plans to make forays into the Australian market, like that. Okay, 어디 시장에 진출할 계획 가지고 있어요. And also forays 대신에 inroads이라는 단어도 있어요. Okay, inroads, 유의어로. They have plans to make inroads into the Australian market. Inroads, 들어가는 길, 이렇게 개통할 계획. All right, then let's look at the last paragraph. Come to fruition. So fruition 보시면요. 여기 이렇게 생각나는 단어 있어요?
fruit.
Yes, fruits. So 한국어처럼 fruits이라고 하면 과실, 무슨 성공 그런 의미도 가지고 있죠. So the fruits of my labor 이라고 하면은 그동안 열심히 근무한 보람 이제 드디어 왔어요. Then you would say, finally, I get to experience the fruits of my labor. The fruits of my labor 이렇게 많이 써요. So fruition이라고 하면은 그 과실 나올 때까지 그 보람 나올 때까지 it came to fruition. Came to fruition. So his plans came to fruition. 이라고 할 수 있어요.
그럼 제가 지금 이렇게 얘기했는데 bear fruit.
What was that?
bear fruit. bear fruit.
Oh, bear fruits, right? Exactly. And bear이라고 하면은 that plan, right? That plan or something like that bore fruit. Do you think it will bear fruit? 이라고 하면은 이 bear은 그냥 그 저기 과실 이렇게 나는 거잖아. 그 나무 이렇게 나무 보면은 사과 이제 생겼어요. 이런 의미죠. 그냥 bear이라고 하면 bear fruit. So that tree won't bear fruit 이라고 하면은 우리 그 뒷바닥에 사과나무 있어요. 근데 사과 안 나와요. 사과 없어요. 안 생겨요. 그냥 매해. Then we would say we have an apple tree but it doesn't bear fruit 이라고 할 수 있어요.
그러면 이거는 뭐 이루다라는 뜻으로 쓰이지 않고 그냥
똑같은 의미예요. 그러니까 비유적으로 그거는 이렇게 엄밀하게 따지면 그런 의미고 they plan, that plan will bear fruit 이라고 할 수 있어요. 계획에 대해서도 써요. Do you think that project will bear fruit? 근데 정말 최고급 말투예요. 평상시에 쓰지 맙시다. 이거 when for example when you're talking to your friend about your plans for like 어떤 뭐 여자한테 작업 걸었어 뭐 do you think it'll bear fruit 이런 말투 안 쓰죠 평상시에. 이거는 진짜 에세이 쓰시거나 정말 뭐 그런 글 쓰실 때
되게 포멀한 거예요.
네. 그 과실도 그거는 평상시에 안 쓰는 말투잖아요. We just say 잘 됐어요. 이라고 하겠죠. 그냥 잘 됐다. Okay, any other questions?
No.
No? Yeah, so like I said, that story was inspiring, right? That story was inspiring because in my own neighborhood, in my own backyard, I saw a man with a dream, and he used to talk to my mother about the how it started, how it began, and we heard from other people too that his father was against it, against his plans, because this guy went to business school. So after he graduated from a really prestigious business school, his father maybe expected him to do something else. But he said, I'm going to open a taco shop. And I think his father protested, right? His father was against it. But in the end, he becomes super successful. And now Chipotle is all over everywhere. It's amazing. I mean, it started in my neighborhood in just a small town, in a small neighborhood in Denver, and then spread all over the world. Those stories are really inspirational. Same with Starbucks. Starbucks too, I've been to the first one in Seattle. And you go there and it just looks like a regular Starbucks, old-fashioned Starbucks. But it's amazing that someone with an idea like that can change the face of the world. Like that, now there's Starbucks here all over the place. So that those kind of stories can be inspiring, I think. Okay? Alright, let's take a little break and then we'll do the other lecture.